I mean, Steve already did a Bertuzzi reaction video, but I figured we needed to do one too.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't good enough.
Because Bertuzzi, another Ross Boston.
Garbage.
Another Ross. They got several Ross Bostons at the deadline.
Oh, my God.
But, I mean, it's like Bertuzzi and Hathaway and Marchand on the same team sucks. Now, the reason Boston was able to do this is they got two key injuries. Foligno, they don't know how long he's going to be gone, and Taylor Hall, which is the more concerning one because he's apparently seeking a second opinion. That is not good. So anytime there's a second opinion, it's not good. But I wanted to play these clips for you.
Who tweeted about they're looking for a second opinion from a doctor who went to school of playoffs?
The school of cap management. I was acting a fool.
Very good tweet.
Very funny. Yeah. He'll be back. For sure he'll be back. But I wanted to play. So they asked Jim Montgomery, hey, what was your reaction when the GM tells you that you got Tyler Bertuzzi? Can you please play this for us?
What did
Jesse?
Monty say?
This is Jimmy Monty Burns.
My first reaction was boom. I stuck out my knuckles to him. So I was happy.
God, he's the perfect coach for that freaking team.
Stuck out my knuckles to him.
Like
boom.
He doesn't even say props. I stuck out my knuckles.
Boom.
Gave him a knucky cinch. Now he's absolutely thrilled, and he should be. I mean, all the way through the lineup. He did go on to say that they're going to be a really tough out, which they were going to be anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think what people are kind of forgetting with Boston is they get all this injury insurance is the way their season began. Part of the reason that this season from Boston has been a bit of a surprise. I was higher on them than most, but I didn't think they were going to do this. I thought they were going to be third in the division, maybe wild card, which is maybe more generous than some. But they began the season without McAvoy, without Marchand, and I believe there was someone else. But those two are significant enough. You're talking about your best defender and your best left winger, at very least, and your least likable person if you're on the other team. All those things combined in Brad Marchand. So they're able to survive these injuries. I think they would have been fine. But the fact that they have the insurance there, and then once everyone's back, they're just going to be stronger, ridiculous.
Sucks.
Are the Boston Bruins just a really good defensive team with a goalie who can stand on his head?
No.
Okay.
What was that a thing?
I was just asking. No, there's a little pushback on the Bruins after Allmark had that great game where they got outshot. It was like 49-15 or whatever.
It was more than that.
Yeah, it was more than that. Ridiculous, and Allmark stood on his head, and the Bruins still won and all that. So a little pushback on that. They're being propped up by their goaltending.
Are we taking things away from teams now that have good goalies?
Right, and the idea that having a good goalie can't just be a part of your team is a ridiculous way to think.
Well, sorry, Avalanche and Devils, and you got to give them all back.
Yeah, no, you can't have Patrick Waugh.
You got to give them all back.
No.
Yeah, no, win the cup without Patrick Waugh.
No, you can't have Brodeur. Yeah, he's up there. But and Swayman deserves so much credit here because they flip flop every game. Like Allmark doesn't really start multiple games in a row. Swayman is in there all the time.
He was for a while. Yeah. Now they're Swayman's starting too many games as a Linus Allmark fantasy holder.
Mm-hmm. The Swayman Allmark secret handshake too at the end of every.
Oh, beautiful!
It's the best.
Beautiful.
The vibes are absolutely immaculate on that team. And no, the idea that they rely on goaltending they rely on goaltending for secondary scoring is what they rely on. With Linus Allmark in net. Yeah, oh my God. But no, the idea that they rely on scoring is ridiculous. Like, how many times have they won like that? And by the way, did anyone pay attention to the next game after that? They stomped the Sabres into the earth's crust. It was like, what, 7-1?
7-1, yeah.
That's a team fighting for their playoff lives. Every game is the most important game since the last, and they got killed.
Steve, once again, only one goal allowed. All they had to do was put up 2 goals, and they would have won because they're actually not good.
Maybe that's why they're leading the NHL by 15 over the second-place team.
Fastest team ever to 100 points.
That's
stupid.
Well, and they don't deserve it because it's the goalie's problem. One thing I do want to add in here at the end is what's been surprising is Vrana, Roenick, and Bertuzzi for Detroit have all been jettisoned when Detroit is 5 points out of a spot. Now they are behind the Caps, they are behind Panthers, Ottawa, and Buffalo, but really they're a point behind all of the teams I just mentioned. And obviously the next closest team is the Islanders with 70 points, but Detroit has 3 games in hand on the Islanders. I mean, the Detroit could make the playoffs after doing all this, which I think is pretty spectacular.
They could.
They could. Likely not, but come on.
The Sens are charging hard.
Yeah, and this is the problem. Steve Yzerman, we talk about sample size and don't make rash decisions. And Steve Yzerman, I think, has seen enough playoff hockey in his life as a player and as an executive to take a lot from 2 games.
Yep.
They played 2 games in Ottawa, lose 6-2. All right, next night we're coming back, and we're going to beat them. We're going to show them. And we're going to at least even it up. Catch them in the race. 6-1, Ottawa. I think, I imagine, I mean, that's a very convenient time to have those 2 games happen.
Do you not think that it's
in
just
terms of
Stevie
evaluation?
Yzerman being ice cold?
It's him being ice cold and
being
also
smart about the rebuild?
Yeah, correct.
He knows.
Like, look what they got. Look what they got. They got a windfall for Bertuzzi. They got a windfall for Hronek. What are the Canucks thinking?
We'll do another video on that. We need to do a video on just the Hronek reaction.
And Vrana, which I think that deal is wonderful for the Blues. We'll get to that. Unfortunately, it seemed very obvious it just wasn't going to work in Detroit. So he cut bait, and you got to know when to do that. And you can give an extension to someone now. You can bring in a free agent, which they had no trouble doing last summer. The Red Wings are going to be a problem in pretty short order.
One last thing I'd like to play. After signing his gigantic extension, Dylan Larkin's reaction to Tyler Bertuzzi's trade. And this is the human side of the trade deadline. Jesse, can you go ahead and play it?
It hurts, and he's one of my best friends. And sorry. It hurts.
Why are you optimistic about the direction of this team beyond what happened today?
Wow. So let me tell you something about guys crying. He was fine until he paused.
Don't pause.
Don't pause. Power through it. Say whatever you need to. Oatmeal, bicycle, like just get through it. The second he said, it was over.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I've been trying to get across this week. Is it's a really emotional week. You look at how emotional Dylan Larkin was. Like, that guy just got millions and millions of dollars. He got generational wealth. He's sad because he's a human being. His friend left. Kopitar. Doughty looking devastated.
What about Jonathan Quick?
Yeah. Kane sad that he wasn't traded and then really happy that he was.
Yeah.
I
was wondering, too, like my wife and I were talking about, Luke Shen was interviewed at the intermission, and I said, his wife's about to have a baby. And she's like, I would kill you if you left. And I said, I get that, but they probably had to have that conversation at the beginning of the year when they found out and saying, hey, like, this is a possibility.
as soon as they saw the blue line.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what? It's March 3rd. Yeah. Okay. It's a really high octane, high emotion time of year, and even though the playoff race is so vicious, I do think it's a time of year you got to give some players some grace.
I saw an interview with Kirill Kaprizov, and he was absolutely bawling his eyes out at Ryan O'Reilly leaving. And he was just absolutely devastated.
I know. The Coyotes organization was really upset about Patrick Kane leaving.
You're such a... I was like, O'Reilly never played for the Wild. Oh.
He did.
Oh.
He was a member.
For half an hour, he was a Wild.
That's right.
Nick Schmaltz, he cried when Patrick Kane left.
That's right.
Again, how did you get me again? I got up way too early this morning. Let me get a few more of these in me. I'll be great, I promise.
We got more videos coming. It's SDPN Trade Deadline.